Afternoon, and thank you for joining us today for the third event of the All In Challenges award ceremonies. My name is Stephanie King, and I have the humble privilege of working as the Director for Strategic Initiatives with the All In Campus Democracy Challenge. Before we begin the third event of the All In Award ceremony, a few technical notes for the group. Closed captioning is being provided by a live transcriber today. It is available via the closed caption button at the bottom of your Zoom taskbar. We encourage attendees to view today's presentation in side-by-side speaker view. To adjust your view, click on the word View in the upper right corner of your Zoom screen. This event is being recorded and it will be uploaded and shared via All In's YouTube channel. We encourage you to engage with fellow attendees in the chat. We invite you to share your name, pronouns, and institution or organization by typing these in the chat at any time. We'd also encourage you to update how your name appears in the Zoom platform by right-clicking on your name, select More, and then choose Rename. This will allow you to adjust how your name appears and gives you an opportunity to add your pronouns, institution, or organization. You can also engage with our team and fellow attendees on social media. Follow us at All In to Vote on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and use the event hashtag AllInAwards throughout today's event. I'm looking forward to our time together today to celebrate the efforts made across athletic conferences, within athletic departments, with students and student athletes alike, and institutions at large. A huge thank you to the campuses that participate in the All In Challenge and to our ceremony sponsors, the Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation, Pay Our Interns, David and Andrea Myers, Princeton University's Vote 100, and the Students Learn, Students Vote Coalition. I'd also like to thank the 68 individual supporters who donated to help make today possible. As we mentioned on Monday, I'd be remiss if I didn't also extend sincere gratitude to partners that funded efforts of the All In Campus Democracy Challenge program to support campuses and students throughout the 2020 election and beyond. These include the Jeffrey H. and Sherry L. Aronson Family Foundation, the Campus Democracy Fund, the Foundation for Civic Leadership, Jeannie Hanover, the Kreisky Foundation, the Lippman Camphor Family Foundation, the Lisa and Douglas Goldman Fund, and the Present Progressive Fund. Now, to set the stage for our time together, please join me in watching a brief video from our colleagues at the University of Miami and the Atlantic Coast Conference, or the ACC, and the Democracy Program.
Make your voice heard.
Make your voice heard.
Make your voice heard.
It's important to vote because every vote counts.
Every vote counts.
Our community depends on you.
You can make a difference.
Exercise your right to vote.
Though small on the surface, every vote does count.
It is important to vote because of the sacrifices that generations of heroes have made to ensure that we have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
The most important responsibility we have as Americans to choose our leaders.
As it is one of our most valuable civil rights.
Is the best way to ensure that democracy endures.
It's important to vote because you have an opinion. That opinion matters.
I believe as American citizens, voting is one of our biggest responsibilities.
Because it can change the future of our nation.
It is important to vote because it's an expression of my freedom as an American.
It is important to vote because our community depends on you.
Our communities need us to step up and make a difference.
I vote because I want my voice to be heard in the community I live in.
I vote because I'm a Black female.
I vote because I want my voice heard, and I take pride in being a woman of impact.
People like me had to fight for their right to vote a long time ago, so I feel that it's only right for me to go out there and exercise that right.
It is important to vote to honor the legacy of those that came before us who had to fight to make sure that all of our voices would be heard.
As young adults, we have the opportunity to change our community, our state, and our nation when we exercise our right to vote.
We are a very diverse group of people who make up for half of the voting population.
And if we want to have our voice heard, we go out, participate, and vote.
And just one vote can inspire impactful change.
Every vote counts.
Every vote makes a difference.
Make your voice heard.
Our community depends on you.
Exercise your right to vote.
Whether it be on the national, state, or local level, get out and vote. Let your voice be heard. Make a change.
Your community depends on you, so get out and vote. No excuses.
Get out and vote. Our country needs unity. And while we have different opinions, The action of voting is something that unifies us as a country.
The best way to create your future is to vote for it.
The future is waiting on you.
So make your voice heard, Canes.
Now, to officially start our celebration, I'm going to pass the microphone to my colleague, Jennifer Goldman, the Executive Director of the All In Campus Democracy Challenge, to kick us off. Jennifer?
Thank you, Stephanie. Good afternoon, and welcome to the third biennial All In Challenge Award Ceremony and our inaugural Athletics Challenges Award Ceremony. I hope you were able to join us for the main ceremony on Monday and yesterday for our State Challenges ceremony. My name is Jen Goldman, and I'm the Executive Director of the All In Campus Democracy Challenge at Civic Nation. We are excited to be celebrating the final day of our virtual awards ceremony events with each of you. Over the past 2 days, we've been able to recognize more than 30 individuals and 50 campuses with champion or best in class awards during our main awards ceremony on Monday. And yesterday, we recognized 47 campuses from 17 states during our inaugural State Challenges Award ceremony. Today, we'll present an additional 46 awards. As we're recognizing campuses and individuals, I want to be mindful that 2020 was a complicated year, and the data from that year are also complicated. In turn, some campuses are still waiting for their NSELB reports. We're aware of this and have a plan in place to recognize those campuses with seals of recognition and other awards as their reports are submitted. In 2016, the first Athletic Conference Voting Challenge was created with the leadership of then Student Government President Joey Wozniak of Mercer University in Georgia through the Southern Conference, now affectionately known as SoCon Votes. The SoCon Votes program found a home at All In during the 2018 midterm elections, alongside the start of the Big Ten Voting Challenge. Thanks to the leadership of the University of Michigan, and more specifically, the Edward Ginsburg Center for Community Service and Learning, the Big Ten Voting Challenge has become a beacon of leadership, infusing athletics and student voting in the collegiate experience. With the examples of SoCon Votes and the Big Ten Voting Challenge in 2018 presenting inaugural awards with All In during our 2019 in-person ceremony, we have since seen a proliferation of athletic challenges spanning Division I to Division III. These include the America East Votes, Democracy with the Atlantic Coast Conference, Big 12 Votes, Big Sky Votes, Conference USA Votes, Ivy League Votes, OAC Votes, MEAC Votes, and the Pac-12 Votes program. While many of these have direct relationships with their respective conferences, all of the athletic voting challenges are positioned as communities of practice with faculty, student affairs administrators, practitioners, athletic colleagues, and students at the helm. The 12 athletic voting challenges collectively include 125 institutions across the nation with a reach of 2.6 million students. This accounts for approximately 15% of all participating All In campuses. We are grateful for all of our athletic conference colleagues, faculty, and staff leaders, and to the students who have made these athletic voting challenges possible. And we look forward to recognizing all participating campuses today. If you are interested in helping to launch an athletic campus voting challenge in your conference in 2022, please do reach out to us. Looking back, 2020 was nothing shy of extraordinary. Students came out to vote in record numbers, according to the Institute for Democracy in Higher Education at the Jonathan M. Tisch College of Civic Life at Tufts University through their initiative known as NSELB, or the National Study of Learning, Voting, and Engagement. The average voting rate for participating college students in 2020 was 66%, a 14 percentage point increase over the last presidential election in 2016. Some of the ways these numbers rose was due to innovative outreach tactics and support mechanisms, ensuring individuals, especially students, knew how to exercise their right to vote. At All In, our team was fortunate to be connected to several initiatives like our athletic conference voting challenges that help to support voter engagement conversations and actions. With that said, other momentous changes came in 2020 outside of our program. Specifically, when the NCAA Division I Student Athlete Advisory Committee, commonly known as SAC, proposed and enacted the All Vote No Play legislation, which provides that the first Tuesday of November, Election Day, each year is a day dedicated to increasing opportunities for Division I athletes to participate in civic engagement. These activities include things like voting or community service, among others. And this historic notion marked the first legislative proposal Division I SAC had proposed since Division I governance was restructured in 2014 to give student athletes a vote at every level of decision-making. As this legislation is enacted from 2021 moving forward across Division I conferences, we're here to help and continually in awe of the power of the student voice. Following our keynote remarks, we'll share more about the inspiration behind our coaches' efforts and the tools developed related to the all vote, no play legislative change. Shortly, we'll split into athletic conference specific breakout rooms for each athletic voting challenge award ceremony. Before we do that, we will hear from our keynote speaker and recognize 2 coaches who helped ensure that their student athletes and athletic programs were able to actively participate in the electoral process in 2020. It is my pleasure now to introduce today's keynote speaker, Craig Robinson. Craig was named the Executive Director of the National Association of Basketball Coaches, or NABC, in July of 2020. Craig leads the NABC's strategic efforts to serve the game of basketball and the coaches and student athletes who compete in the sport. Craig brings over 3 decades of administrative and coaching experience to the NABC. From 2007 to 2020, he served as the Vice President of Player Development and Minor League Operations for the NBA's New York Knicks. Craig has held similar front office positions in player and organizational development with the Milwaukee Bucks. Prior to his transition into administration, Craig spent 8 years as a Division I head men's basketball coach, 2 seasons at Brown and 6 at Oregon State. And during a hiatus from coaching before joining the Northwestern staff, Craig held several private sector executive roles. Thank you for joining us today, Craig.
Thanks, Jen. That's a lovely introduction. And on behalf of the NABC, our coaches, our staff, I'd like to thank All In for the Standout National Partner Award. This is such a meaningful award for us as it represents an important initiative for our members, as well as the student athletes we're responsible for. And I'm honored to receive it on behalf of all the constituents who participated. We couldn't have done this without the leadership of Eric Reveneau, Joe Kennedy, and Mike Burns, who corralled all of our coaches in this effort. This award also reminds us of what we can all accomplish if we work as a team. You know, it goes without saying this is an important initiative as it starts the habits that lead to civic engagement and philanthropy. Civic engagement and philanthropy are learned behaviors. I learned them young as growing up. It's not natural to be giving of your time and resources, especially in a competitive environment. Some of you may wonder how civic engagement got to be so important to me and my family. And I thought I'd tell you a little bit of a story on how I got started. My parents were those neighbors who would help families out whenever they could. In addition, my mom would come help out in my 4th grade class, and she would help with different subjects, math, reading, science, and me being the dutiful student that I was, as soon as I got through doing my work, I'd get up and start walking around and talking to my friends. It was my mom who said, "Hey, Craig, why don't you do something for someone else? Why don't you help your other students learn the topics that you already know?" And it was that time that started my philanthropic behavior. And I carried this behavior on to Princeton University, where I was a caretaker at the Third World Center. I was involved with the Princeton East Harlem Exchange Program and the Big Brother Program. And then that went on in my corporate career, working as a mentor to junior staff, volunteering in the community, and recruiting other workers, young workers, to the organizations that I worked in. This also continued in my coaching career, where I tried to pass along what I had learned about being philanthropic with your time to my student athletes. I started with them being a little bit more giving with each other, and then on the campus, and then in their community. Every coach, no matter what level, has an influential platform. We have a responsibility to use our platforms to make a difference beyond basketball. We must be agents of change. The NABC Committee on Racial Reconciliation was formed in June 2020 with the goal of addressing issues related to social injustice within college athletics and society at large. One of the committee's first initiatives was to partner with All In. Their passion for developing a new generation of civically engaged young people was a natural fit with the mission of our committee, as well as the mission of our association. We learned that more than half of those under age 35 lack the resources or knowledge needed to vote by mail. College students in particular face a series of hurdles, from confusion over absentee ballots and residency requirements to shifting voter identification laws. These were the kinds of gaps college basketball coaches wanted to fill. Together, we set the goal of achieving 100% voter registration and turnout among eligible men's basketball players. The NABC and All In developed a coaches voter education task force and voter engagement playbook and encouraged all coaches to sign the voter engagement pledge. Over 1,000 coaches took the pledge, leading to a direct impact on our 8,000 student athletes. 83% of NCAA Division I schools had at least one coach sign the pledge, and overall, we got signatures from all 3 NCAA divisions, the NAIA, 2-year colleges, and high schools. These grassroots efforts of many coaches eventually led to the adoption of the all vote, no play legislation, making federal election day a mandatory day off for basketball programs. All vote, no play is about much more than voting. Coaches have worked to develop a series of civic education resources that can keep the conversation alive inside basketball programs, even in off-year elections. Coaches who joined the voter task force, signed the voter engagement pledge, contributed to the engagement playbook, and championed all vote, no play have made their priorities abundantly clear. Accomplishments on the court might make headlines, but first and foremost, coaches are committed to developing and educating student athletes. In conclusion, this has been a tremendous partnership with All In pursuit of fostering civic engagement as a priority and passion for every campus and every locker room. And we look forward to continuing this important relationship. Now, it is my pleasure to partner with Coach Awards. Today, we will recognize 2 coaches who are being awarded with All In's inaugural Standout Coach Award. The first awardee for the Standout Coach Award is Gary Stewart, the Assistant Athletic Director and head men's basketball coach from Stevenson University of the Middle Atlantic Conference. And Gary is also a board member at the NABC. Coach Stewart's nominator wrote, Coach Stewart has been involved since the beginning of the process with the NABC and NCAA in giving student athletes the day off from classes and team requirements on election day. He's been an active participant on all of the calls with the All In Coaches Task Force. He engaged the men's basketball team at Stevenson in participating in All In and civic engagement events in their communities throughout 2020 and today. Please join me in congratulating Coach Stewart. Now, a few words from Coach.
Thank you, Craig. I am incredibly honored and humbled by this award. It's unbelievable how many coaches throughout the country really heard and heeded the message to get involved in this important endeavor. And I couldn't be more proud to accept this award on behalf of Stevenson University and the men's basketball coaching staff. I think All In folks did an extraordinary job led by Stephanie King. And I would be remiss without mentioning Mike Burns, Eric Reveneau, and Joe Kennedy for their outstanding leadership. Being on the board of the NABC, I've been afforded the opportunity to see Craig Robinson's leadership firsthand. And Craig gave us marching orders to provide the most enriching, engaging experience for the student athlete. And this was an easy ask when I heard about the folks at All In conjunction with Eric, Revenue, Mike, and Joe's passionate plea to get our students involved in the voting process. Obviously, that is not just what happens on November the 2nd. It's all about understanding from an educational standpoint, from a historical standpoint, how we got here, and then educating the student athletes and how they can enrich their communities, what the down ballot means, and how they can vote, even if they're not in the same state that the institution may arise. So we had a wonderful time with this. Again, very impactful, something that I'm really looking forward to our athletes continuing to vote and getting their families involved in this process as they begin to make strong inroads in the local communities and the nation at large. So again, thank you to All In, and Craig, I appreciate your kind words. Again, very humbled to accept this award on behalf of Stevenson University for all the great coaches out there that did outstanding work. It is incredibly humbling.
Congratulations again, Coach Stewart.
Thank you.
Our second Standout Coach Award recipient is Kiambra Griffin, the Director of Basketball Operations for women's basketball at Manhattan College in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. Coach Griffin's nominator said Kiambra, aka Kiki, deserves this award for her valiant effort in engaging her team, athletic department, and greater campus community to understand the importance of civic engagement. She understands that it looks different for everyone, but places a special emphasis on bringing the community together during uncomfortable moments. As a result, tolerance and awareness is raised, and the hope is that these attitudes will sustain in order to create real change. Please join me in congratulating Coach Griffin. Now, a few words from Coach.
Thank you so much for the kind words, Craig. I appreciate that. Again, my name is Kiambra Griffin. Everyone calls me Kiki, and I'm so honored to be a 2021 All-In Standout Coach. And I certainly want to thank everyone who's been a part of this Campus Democracy Challenge Committee. And thank you for recognizing not only my team as Manhattan College women's basketball, but for recognizing our campus community. And I say our because this was a distinct collaborative effort during some of the most challenging times in a pandemic and election year. And I always ask what is urgent for our players to voice to their campus community, whether that's in the form of a game promotion, a team event, and in other ways that happened. And especially in the fall of 2020, that just happened to be social justice and bringing awareness to Black Lives Matter. And as a Black female athletic administrator, I felt a great responsibility to make sure our voice was heard. And in the end, our purpose as student athletes, coaches, and administrators is to always engage our campus community so that we can protect the values that's important to what is Manhattan College, Messiah, and Catholic culture. And sport is a microcosm of society, and we have to treat our processes of influence as such. And I'm committed just as much as you guys are. And I hope we can continue to sustain these conversations and create meaningful change for generations to come. So thank you to the committee. Again, thank you, Craig, for the kind words, and congratulations to my fellow standout coach, Coach Stewart.
Congratulations again, Kiambra. Please join me in a round of applause recognizing and thanking both Coach Stewart and Coach Griffin for their important efforts in the chat and on social media using the hashtag AllInAwards. I will now pass the microphone back to Jen.
Thank you, Craig. And congratulations again to you and your colleagues at the Nabc for being our National Partner Award recipients for All In this year. Congratulations also, of course, to our inaugural Standout Coach recipients, Coach Griffin and Coach Stewart. We could not have done the work, and the student vote certainly wouldn't have been where it was in 2020 without the work of each of you and so many others in the athletics community. I always do appreciate, Craig, the words of encouragement and excitement that you offer as a way to uplift civic engagement and community. At this time, I'd like to take a moment to represent one of the 2 champion awards that we presented at our main ceremony on Monday, November 8th. Again, the National Standout Partner Award that I just referenced. In partnership with this organization in 2020, the inaugural Coaches Voter Education and Registration Task Force was launched by 120 individuals across all conference types supporting nonpartisan team engagement in the general election. The first Coaches Playbook was rolled out and utilized by many in the athletic space to increase democratic participation. You heard some of this in Craig's notes earlier. Most notably, approximately 1,200 individuals signed the Coaches Voter Registration and Engagement Pledge in 2020, representing 86% of Division I conferences, 26% of Division II and Division III conferences, 11% of NAIA teams, and 4% of junior teams. The 2020 All-In Standout National Partner Awardee is, of course, none other than the National Association of Basketball Coaches, or NABC, which our friend Craig leads. Congratulations to the NABC and to Craig again for their leadership, and I'm now going to share the microphone back with Craig for just a few quick remarks.
Thanks, Jen. Just want to make sure everybody can see the award here. I've got it here. This really means a lot. I can't tell you how proud we are to receive this award. You know, I mentioned at the outset that we couldn't have done this without our partners, our members, Eric Reveneau, Joe Kennedy, and Mike Burns, all the coaches, all of you folks at All In. It was a pleasure to work with you on such a very important initiative. We really want to say thanks again, and this means a lot. But this doesn't stop here. We are encouraging our members to keep the discussions going, keep the efforts going. This is something that we want to make important every single year, not just during our major elections. So Jen, thank you and your staff for all you do, and just so happy to receive this award, and this is really an award for all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Craig, for being all in for democracy and all in for the student athletes and your coaches across the NABC, and for being this year's recipient of the Outstanding Partner Award. We certainly couldn't do without you, and we do appreciate the fact that the work has continued through 2021, and we're excited for it to continue next year and beyond. Thank you. Before we split into the breakout rooms representing the 12 athletic voting challenges, I'd like to take a moment to uplift the allvotenoplay.org resource created in partnership by our colleagues at Vote by Design, Lisa K. Solomon, as well as Brianne DeRosa, Madison Adams, and Ari Eisen. The Vote by Design nonpartisan All Vote No Play guide provides coaches with a list of civic drills to help all athletes flex and grow their civic mindsets, behaviors, and habits. Designed by coaches and informed by research and a diverse coalition of civic partners, including All In, this guide aims to make it easy for coaches, regardless of sport, geography, type of institution, or position, to use this day off from playing as a day on for helping student athletes to be more successful leaders and community builders. The All Vote No Play guide is organized into 3 primary categories of civic drills: learn, engage, and gather. Please join me in uplifting this resource by sharing in the chat, utilizing the toolkit, and showing appreciation online with their social handles at Vote by Design on Instagram or Vote Design on Twitter, and using the hashtag AllVoteNoPlay. This is also the perfect segue to show my appreciation for the 30 coaches that have been piloting with us the Building America's Teammates program and partners Vote by Design, How to Citizen with Bear Tunde Thurston, and the All-In and NABC Coaches Task Force. Building America's Teammates is a nonpartisan, accessible, coach-friendly program that helps all athletes see themselves as capable and confident participants in a thriving and democratic society. This program will be more widely available in 2022, so you can learn more about it now at the link provided in the chat. Lastly, none of our coaches' work has ever been as successful if it weren't for a handful of persons affectionately known as the Magnificent Seven. They have championed coach involvement at all levels of collegiate athletics, supporting their peers, programs, and institutions, and expanding civic learning and democratic engagement efforts. Please join me in giving them a round of applause and a shout out on social media. Thank you for all you do in supporting athlete involvement. Coach Mike Burns of Boise State, Coach Patrick Crary of St. Thomas University, Coach Ryan Marks of St. Francis, Coach Marlon Stewart of Oregon State, Coach Otto Taylor of Tuskegee, and of course, Coach Joseph Kennedy of Holy Cross, and Coach Eric Reveneau of Georgia Tech. Congratulations to everyone that supports students and student athletes alike in becoming informed and active participants in our democracy. We would not have a national voting rate of 66% across higher education without each and every one of you. And with that, I'm going to turn the microphone back to my colleague, Stephanie.
Thank you, Jen, and congratulations, everyone. Before we transition to the Athletic Conference Voting Challenge breakout rooms, I have one more shout out to all of our Athletic Conference co-leads. Please join me in recognizing and celebrating the following academic, student affairs, and higher education colleagues and organizations. For the American East Votes program, Allison Twang of Binghamton University and Stephen Adelson, formerly of Stony Brook University, and Kate Bergstrom of the American East Conference. At Democracy, Bridget Trogdon and Kate Radford of Clemson University, Katie Lipey of Duke University, Shamari Brown and Lee Butler of the Atlantic Coast Conference. For Big 12 votes, Karen Kodarski of Iowa State University and Lauren Schuler of Oklahoma State University. At Big Sky votes, Leah Murray and Teresa Martinez of Weber State University and Tyson Rogers of the Big Sky Conference. For the Big 10 voting challenge, Logan Woods, Aaron Burns, and Edie Goldenberg of the University of Michigan. At Conference USA, for Conference USA votes, our colleagues at Middle Tennessee State University and Scott Hayes and Kelly Carney of Conference USA. For Ivy League votes, the Harvard vote students, especially Lily Richmond, Alexandra Park, Kevin Balin, and Teddy Landis, and to all of the Ivy League vote students. For MEAC votes, Nur Mood of Hamline University and BJ Prickard of Minnesota Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. For NESCAC votes, Angela Barney of Connecticut College, Jason Duquette Hoffman of Middlebury College, and Andrew Lardy, formerly of Bowdoin College. At OAC votes, Amby Schroeder and Lori Kumler of the University of Mount Union, the former OAC Commissioner Tim Gleason, and current OAC Commissioner Sarah O'Dea. For Pac-12 votes, Karen Hedges of UCLA, Ben Calabreda of Washington State University, and Heather Vaughn of the Pac-12 Conference. And last but certainly not least, at SoCon votes, Joy Fulkerson of East Tennessee State University and Lauren Shinholster of Mercer University. Please join me in giving each of these individuals and organizations a round of applause for guiding the All-In Athletic Voting Challenge program. Then one more housekeeping note before we transition to our breakout rooms. We'd encourage each of you to participate in this afternoon's Students Learn, Students Vote Coalition post-election gathering sessions. There's a few opportunities that I'm sure you'll find most interesting. We will now transition into our breakout rooms for our individual athletic conference voting challenge ceremonies. Please note that the Big 10 Voting Challenge Awards presentation has been postponed until spring 2022. In a moment, you will see the breakout room box open on your screen. You can self-select which breakout room session you would like to attend. We will have staff in the main room here to help you if you end up in the wrong room or get disconnected. We can always send you back to your appropriate breakout room. At this time, please do join your breakout room sessions. Thank you, and again, for being here today and during this week's All-In Award Ceremony and SLC post-selection gathering events, and all year round supporting nonpartisan voter engagement at your institutions and in your communities. Enjoy the breakout sessions.